Recently, my school had a whole entire renovation done on their CTE wing, and one of the things that was included was a whole entire studio. Yeah, we got a whole studio as part of this budget. I mean, that we can do really cool things, because we got computers that can handle it, and now we have a studio that can handle it. Without further ado, let's show off an example of what we can do inside this studio. Over here is basically an example of some of the stuff that we use to monitor our gear and to actually light the gear. Right here is our source TV. This is a Samsung 60-inch TV, and it's really nice. It does 4K and is an OLED display, meaning that the blacks on it are going to be very crisp, and this is one of the best displays that we have inside of the whole studio. And then right next to us is one of our lights that we use. It is a JVM 50RS, and it's pretty nice, and you can get a really good brightness out of it. We do have more lights and stuff like that, like we have a spotlight, and we have a much bigger version of this made by Swit. And you may have noticed that there's a table in front of you. Why is that? Well, because we're about to get to the next part of the studio, where we do all the main recording. Whenever we do anything inside of the studio, we're usually sitting at this table. Sometimes we have a green screen, and sometimes we have a black screen. If you want to see what this area looks like with a green screen, well, wait. That's not the right color. 1 second, I got the wrong screen. There we go. Much better. And actually, you know what? Me adding, if you want to throw something funny behind me, you can. Of course you would do that. Now that I've shown you the main studio and all that stuff, let's take a look at some of the gear that we use. Right here is our big boy camera. This is a Sony shoulder cam, and it's pretty big. Like, I'm not even joking when I say this. So this thing is humongous. This is actually so big that it requires a tripod that's much different from the rest of the cameras that we use. For instance, it literally has a ball mount and a gimbal and stabilization and all of that stuff. And it's our better looking ones, which is why it needs all of that. Now that I think about it, I haven't shown the other ones either. So you should probably see those right now. This is a camera that we don't really use much, mainly because of the fact that it holds our teleprompter. You wanna know what this teleprompter is made out of? Is literally a monitor and a mirror. Now I should bring up that this is a one-way mirror, meaning that the lens, which is behind it, is still able to capture everything that is in front of it. Now the funny thing with this camera is the fact that it's actually a little bit lopsided when filming with it, so we actually have to use the big Sony in order to get that front image. Basically just have this for the prompter at the moment. Now this is our other JVC. It's basically what we use to get a angle shot. Whenever you see the studio inside of angle, that's usually being shot by this. And that's because this is a really good camera with really good autofocus, and it's actually the same one that I'm using right now to film this. For now, I think it's time that I show you some of our handheld cams. These are what I've used to shoot B-roll and stuff like that on. Let's go. Inside this cabinet is basically where all of our camera gear is stored, from all of our cameras to some of the lights to camera bags and to all the lenses. With this studio, we do actually have 5 cameras, one of which I'm using right now. These are JVC 4K cams, and as the name enticed, they can actually record 4K, which makes these really good for doing anything outside, mainly because our lenses are not zoom lenses. Why? Because they shoot in 4K, you can punch in as much as you want. Now that I've shown you basically everything inside of here, let's go into the production room. Before we step foot into the production room, we should probably take a quick pit stop over where we store all of our batteries and all of the wireless gear that we use. Because this section right here is the most important section of the studio. At the end of the wall here is our switch chargers. So these are the batteries for all the lights and anything relating to that. Then next to it is our microphone case. This holds our wireless microphones and everything relating to wireless stuff. Finally, we have the camera batteries. So these basically power everything, and yeah, there's not really much to say, so let's go to the production room. WP116A, the control room. Now the first thing that you do once we get in here is obviously turning on the lights. Just flick that up. You'll see that there's this little brightness control. Basically, turn this on. Turns on the lights. Turn this up. Does that? How the hell? This room was literally just built. Why is everything haunted in this school? Well, now you've seen this, let's take over the server, because that's the first thing that you're going to see when you walk in. You should probably know how to turn all that stuff on. This server basically holds all the brains to our camera gear. Basically, whenever you turn this on, all the cameras in there will turn on, and all the lights will turn on. Speaking of lights, I haven't shown you the overheads. We'll get to those, trust me. First, we turn on the server by flicking the switch, put that on. Then, we head over to our Sony panel. This is basically what controls all of the settings on Big Sony. But first, to power it on, just flick this. Then, you hit panel active. Now you can turn on the TriCaster. Basically, turn this on, press this button right here. That's about all you need to know for the server. It's pretty simple. Now to turn everything off, basically just have to hit this button. It'll turn off at some point. Then you hit the power button for the Sony, and then you can just turn off the whole server like that. The audio booth is one of the main areas inside the studio that we don't really use often, mainly because there's nothing in here. Build 2, we have basically nothing in it and really no lighting in here, so it's really not that good to film in. However, you can get really good audio inside this room, versus the other room where it's very echoey. This room has sound foam, which, by the way, is green, so might as well throw something behind me. Really, I made the joke again. Jesus Christ, because I'm really predictable with my editing style. Now that you've seen the main studio, I think it's time for us to end off the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it and would like to learn more about the studio or prefer to learn more, you can go through and click here to continue this series and to keep watching, or you can go through and click here and watch a video recommended to you by the YouTube algorithm.